Hello there. My name is Yuval Green from Sasquatch Productions, and welcome back to the Writer's Room. Joining me from last time, we have...
Sure.
But joining us for the first and probably not last time, we got...
Your boy Jerome.
Nomad.
And Ren.
So, the other night, we all went to watch Blue Beetle. And tell me, guys, what did you think of the movie?
It was freaking amazing.
And I feel like it was probably a really good way to start off the new version of the DC Cinematic Universe. Or basically what's called now DCU, DC Universe.
I thought it was pretty good overall.
Yeah, what about...
Very much.
And Ren?
Pretty good. Really good, actually. I give it a 10 out of 10. No, there's no flaws I see in the movie.
Yeah, genuinely, I've gone to the theater 3 times this year, and all 3 have been 10 out of 10 experiences. The Mario movie, I would probably put down at like an 8 out of 10, probably, but like, given some thought, but like, Across the Spider-Verse and Blue Beetle, both 10 out of 10 movies, honestly.
Yeah, 100%.
So, the main reason we wanted to talk about it in the writer's room is this, as Jerome mentioned, this is the start of James Gunn's creative control over the DC universe, the cinematic DC stuff. And essentially, it's the start of a new cinematic universe. Because the DCEU, the stuff that was started by Snyder, has crashed and burned.
It flopped pretty hard.
Oh, yeah.
I was very disappointed to hear the Flash movie was shit. Because it had Michael Keaton Batman, and you cannot go wrong with Michael Keaton Batman. I heard he was the best part.
Yeah, him and Supergirl were the few good parts of the movie. But, like, but yeah, in general, the DCEU is dead and gone. But James Gunn has said that he's gonna, like, take the stuff that he thought worked and bring it into his DC universe.
And so far, that's been working for him very well.
Yeah, The Suicide Squad was a movie he directed in the DCEU, and that's gonna still be a thing in his universe. And then also, obviously, Blue Beetle, we have to properly kick off this universe.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking about Blue Beetle because we're going to use this opportunity to talk about what it looks like to successfully kickstart a cinematic universe. What does a movie have to do to introduce a whole universe of characters? We're gonna mainly focus our discussion on Blue Beetle, but we're also going to talk about other films that did the same job. So, first thing that Blue Beetle succeeds at, that many other attempts at cinematic universes have failed with, it remembered to be a good fucking movie.
Yeah.
So, that's something that stuff like The Mummy, that tried to start the Dark Universe or whatever, failed at.
Yeah. I didn't hear much of it. I just heard it was kind of a train wreck, even though it had a very interesting concept using the very well-known...
Yeah, it was an attempt to reboot the Universal Monster movies.
Yeah.
And it did not work, because it was focused more on establishing a wider universe of characters than being its own movie.
Yeah.
Whereas in Blue Beetle,
it's very focused on its characters.
Yeah, they mention like things like Batman, but like we never hear of them other than like one line from a skeptic.
It lets you know of their existence, but the main plot of the movie is about Blue Beetle.
Yeah, exactly.
And one thing I really appreciate is that the character interactions felt genuine and like real people talking.
Yeah, like I said, Blue Beetle remembers to be a good movie.
Not only that, it's a good, believable story as well, which really helps sell the universe as being constructed.
Oh yeah, and that's the main thing that I feel like many cinematic universes, especially in the like 2010s when that was like all the rage, kind of failed at. What's interesting is like the movies that there were multiple movies that have started successful cinematic universe. Of course, we have the obvious with Iron Man and the MCU. Iron Man was and still is a pretty good movie.
Yes.
And
Agreed.
but if you look a little deeper, you may know that the first true cinematic universe is the Universal monster movies of the 30s.
Yes.
Yeah, and that was started by Dracula, which, at least for the time, was a really good movie. It doesn't, like, hold up perfectly nowadays, but it's still pretty good.
Time, for the
for the time, it's a pretty good movie.
And
then we have the two cinematic universes started by Godzilla.
Yes.
Yeah, we have the MonsterVerse, which was started with Godzilla 2014. But what people don't really know as much, as far as I can tell, is that the original Godzilla, back in '54, was also the start of a cinematic universe. That after the original Godzilla was released and was insanely popular, they made a sequel to Godzilla, and then after that, they started making new monster movies with new monsters. The most notable ones were Rodan and Mothra.
Yes, Mothra is my personal favorite of the MonsterVerse monsters. I've always been a fan of Mothra.
Yes.
But that's not the point.
Yeah. The point is, like, the original Godzilla, sure, it was never meant to start a cinematic universe, but it's an interesting case where it's an interesting case where it retroactively, where the movies were retroactively made into a cinematic universe, because, like, 4 movies into the Godzilla franchise, in the 4th one was when the crossovers started. Sure, we had King Kong vs. Godzilla in '62, that was the 3rd one. But then after that but King Kong never really showed up again outside of one solo film. But the real cinematic universe is considered to have started with 1964's Mothra vs. Godzilla.
Yes.
And then after that, we had Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster, which was essentially this era's version of the Avengers. Because that brought in Rodan as well. Not to mention, years later in 1970, we had War of the Gargantuas, which, while the monsters in that movie didn't necessarily show up, that movie introduced a weapon that ends up being used in future Godzilla movies.
Oh, what was that weapon?
The Maser tank. It was essentially like a super powerful laser weapon.
Yes.
So powerful, it's 1 letter further in the alphabet.
Wait, what?
It went from laser to maser.
What's next? Naser? Zazer?
Yeah. But yeah, because of the retroactive, connectivity of the movies, the movies weren't connected until after they were made.
Yes.
So the original Godzilla wasn't focused on anything other than being a good movie. We mentioned it earlier, but the second step of properly establishing a cinematic universe is not drawing too much attention to the fact that you're starting a cinematic universe.
Yes.
Like, when you look at Iron Man, the closest thing we got to a cinematic universe, to hinting at a bigger universe, was the post-credits scene with Nick Fury.
Yes.
And then with Blue Beetle, there was they mentioned Batman once in a throwaway line, and then
essentially a cameo.
Yeah, and then the post-credits scene, which we're not going to talk about because spoilers.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a story-relevant thing that you're starting a cinematic universe. Yeah. Your story should be about your story.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And it sucks because it feels like that's what a lot of cinematic universes failed at. Like, sure, the DCEU like crash and burn, but at least Man of Steel was its own movie. It wasn't connected to any other movies at the time.
Yeah, I feel like that's one of the big things that, unless your story is about connecting these things, it should not be. It should not have story beats about connecting these things.
Yeah, but the issue with Man of Steel and why the DCEU wasn't as didn't take off as well as they'd hoped. Man of Steel forgot rule number one. It forgot to be a great ass. It forgot to be a good ass movie. A lot of people didn't like Man of Steel.
Yeah, so that's the main thing, is making a good movie.
Yeah.
You do that.
Step 2, try not to don't connect things into the movie that don't need to be there. Once you get to the sequel, sure, Iron Man 2 introduced Black Widow. But like beyond that, but like in the movie that's starting your cinematic universe, it's best to hold off on connecting it to anything else. And another very important thing to realize with your cinematic universe is the first movie sets the precedent for the tone of the universe.
So in other words, hopefully, if they keep this tone going, we'll have a very the entire universe would feel very genuine.
Yeah, because Blue Beetle, like, it had an amazing balance of comedy and drama,
and that genuineness holds it together.
Yeah, not to mention that's partially because of the excellent script and the performances, but the tone is set with Blue Beetle. But part of the reason why everyone complained about the MCU characters being too quippy is because Iron Man set that precedent. That's just how he is.
Yeah, that's true. It should have just...
I don't really have a problem with quips. I never had. I actually enjoy quips.
Yeah, they're fine, but not everyone likes them.
Well, there's also the fact that, like you're going to have, even if we were to have superheroes, like, say, in real life, we're going to have people who would have fun with it and make a bunch of quips, like Spider-Man, Iron Man, Star-Lord. That was his name, right? Did I say that wrong?
That was
Star-Lord. They're quippy. That's their personalities. But not everybody is going to be quippy about it.
Yeah, exactly.
There are going to be people shitting their pants in a scenario that is unnatural and horrifying.
Yes.
If there's a giant alien about to kill us all, there are people that are going to be not taking this nonchalantly.
Yeah. In fact, most people probably won't.
Yeah.
Because we're all going to be terrified out of our minds.
Yeah. But like, if you look at... That's part of why I think the early Thor movies stood out so much, because they were a lot more serious than the rest of the MCU.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, those are the main, like, those are the core aspects of launching a cinematic universe. Now, here's the reason why I made this a writer's room episode.
Mm-hmm.
What would you guys do if you were to start a cinematic universe?
Run.
But if you were given a movie, if you were given a chance to start a cinematic universe about, like, whatever you want, what would you do with it?
Well, try to make it really good.
Okay, yeah, you gotta start by making it good.
I know that's what we've been saying, but, like, that's kind of the big thing is...
Yeah.
But, you gotta make something that really hooks somebody into your universe.
Yeah. Like, don't go into, like... Yeah, but I'm thinking, like, don't go into, like, details, but, like, give, like, general, like, broad strokes. What would your cinematic universe be about, and where would it start?
I don't know. You're asking me not to be general, but then give me such a general prompt. I don't know how to answer.
That's what I'm asking you to be general. I was trying to say, don't go into too much detail. Say what would you want your cinematic universe to be about, and where would you start with it?
Don't have an answer to
Well,
that.
you know what? I mean,
Okay, so start my own cinematic universe. I would start slow. I wouldn't introduce too many characters first off. I'd be a little I'd ease people through. I wouldn't reveal all the big plot points right on the spot. I'd hint at there being a bigger plot, but how it would start off, it would simply be just an introduction to the characters and the story.
Okay.
Yeah.
that's generally a very
start,
great way to start things. I'm really not gonna go detailed with this, but some general things I would do is I would take some already like pre-existing characters from their own movies and stuff, and it would have to be like you have to choose very carefully what characters are going to be in your cinematic universe because you have to have them interact well enough because that's mainly what people are going to be there for. People from different like franchises that love different characters and seeing them interact. That's what was so good about like for example the Super Smash Bros. Brawl story mode. Watching the characters like interact with each other and all their different personalities was a really good thing to watch. So like where I would start with is first of all like looking at the personalities of different characters from different universes, whatever theme I might be going for, whether it's superheroes, monsters, or whatever, and putting them in a scenario where they all where something big is happening and they all have to come together and they end up either like becoming in a conflict with each other because of what's going on or working together to take on what's going on.
Okay, so that's the movie that movie would be the one that like brings together your cinematic universe. Where would you start the cinematic universe?
Yeah, we're talking about starting it. I was about to say.
Nah, I don't know. That's all I got.
All right.
Do you have an idea for what you do?
No. I'm telling you, this is not the topic I'd be good at. A lot of the other topics, like whips and stuff, I can talk about, but this is like, I barely know what a cinematic universe is.
I might have something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's hear it.
Okay, so if I were to begin a cinematic universe, I would kind of want to go with more drama than action for the cinematic universe. I would get funny character and funny character and a badass character and make them work together.
It's not necessary for every cinematic
Wait,
universe.
you said a what? What was the first one? You said something and then a badass character? What?
Funny character.
Funny character.
He's talking about the archetype of the straight man and the other person. I don't remember what the other
straight man
person
in
is.
the comic relief.
He's talking about
Yeah, that's
JoJo.
Straight man, the comic relief.
I think he's just talking about JoJo.
Fair
I
enough.
don't know.
Okay. Where were we?
Yeah,
They
I feel,
did really good actors too. So.
I feel like I think one thing that I've realized in this discussion and just in general is there are certain topics that are easier to start a cinematic universe with than others. Like that's why the only successful ones have been monsters and superheroes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, although if you start one that's like, if you do a cinematic universe that's like about like a space, like a series of space operas, and you have them focused on like different parts of this wider galaxy, but still have some stuff that like connects between them.
What are you talking about? Like, I'm sorry, but okay. Okay, can we stop for a second? Evil, I don't know what a cinematic universe is.
Okay, I can explain it. So basically, from my understanding of what a cinematic universe is imagine like Smash Bros, but in a line of movies. Like it's like a bunch of characters from their own. Huh?
It's a bunch of characters from their own thing. But
Yeah, being brought together for a bigger picture.
Okay.
Yeah.
That it's
Think
essentially
like
what Smash Bros did.
Yeah, like the MCU.
Okay, so sorry,
The
I'm
whole
just thinking, how
go.
do we progress through? I mean, I think it's less that it only works with those things. It's more so just that those characters have existed in a specific. Yeah, fuck it, whatever. I don't know what I'm talking. I don't know what I'm talking
about. Not necessarily. Like, Godzilla Universe established their characters for the first time. The initial one was establishing its characters for the first time.
I guess.
I mean, I guess that sort of also goes the same with the MCU universe because let's be fair, I did like even though Doctor Strange like existed before his movie came out, I very highly doubt people knew Doctor Strange existed until that movie.
True. And what's more, like, the MCU generally wasn't working with, like, it was working with B-list characters at the most. All of their A-listers were off at Sony or Fox.
Mm.
Yeah, they were working with, like, B and C tiers. Like, Iron Man was a C tier character before the MCU started.
Yeah, but again, that's not exactly proof that's going to fail. Oh, like, again, Iron Man was a C tier, Blue Beetle was a C tier, like, that's not, those are derivative of, like, it failing.
Yeah, but that does...
Again,
yes, but
it's not about the character, it's more about...
The idea is that it's not necessary for a character to be, like, properly pre-established in order to succeed as a cinematic universe.
Because, like, here's the thing. Even though we know that Blue Beetle and Iron Man existed before their movies, a lot of people don't, but it still works when they watch it. You gotta go into the perspective of the specific person as well. Yeah. My dad did not know that Iron Man existed. At least I don't think he did when he started watching the MCU. Yeah. Did the MCU very much still work for our entire family despite that not being our knowledge? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He might as well have not existed to a lot of people.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Rewatching Iron Man, I could not tell that. I'll be honest. I couldn't really tell that it was a Marvel. That it was a superhero film. For parts of it.
Yeah, that's true.
Because, like, it felt like, yeah, that it doesn't necessarily have to be like a well-known, pre-established character. Like, yeah, Iron Man was a C tier. Like, Blue Beetle is a C tier character, like we said, and seems to me like he's starting a cinematic universe just fine. Mm-hmm. Like later down the line, we've got heavy hitters planned, but not yet. Like later down the line, James Gunn's apparently going to be helming a Superman film.
Yeah, or like when they brought Spider-Man in.
Yeah.
Into the MCU.
In Civil War, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. The idea is save your like heavy hitters for a little later.
Yes.
Yeah, give the lower tier, less well known or new characters. It's like some time to have spotlight, you know.
Yeah.
Let them get popular, so that when the heavy hitters come, them coming together will be really huge.
But it's really funny to me because like I've had my own thoughts on what I would do with the DC cinematic universe. And I also started with Blue Beetle and Superman.
Oh, coincidence? I think not. Great minds think alike.
Yeah.
For my idea of a cinematic universe, it's kind of like a Batman. I don't know what
it's just a Batman thing. It's a Batman thing. What you have is don't go into details because that's not what this video is about.
No. But for me, I plan to start slow. And not really go too fast. Even though the plot gets a little funky.
Yeah, start small.
Yeah.
I don't work well with pre-established characters with why right now.
Yeah, and that's perfectly fine. I mean, look at what they did in the '60s with the Godzilla monsters.
True point. Do we?
I don't know.
Hungry
We're gonna-
I don't really know what else to talk about here.
Well,
Well, I feel like we got our point across.
Yes, we
yeah.
did. And I think we should conclude, because I need dinner. I'm starving to death.
All right, yeah. Let's wrap. Yeah, I think this is a good place to wrap it up. This is going to be significantly shorter than the last one because we're not going over a full
Because we're talking
rewrite
about
of the show.
we're talking about a very specific subject, and also what I can't talk.
Yeah, we're not going over a rewrite of an entire season of television in this one. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in to this episode of The Writers' Room. Please go watch Blue Beetle.
and when he says go watch Blue Beetle, he means right now. I don't care where you are. Go watch it now. Like, go watch the Blue Beetle movie. It's amazing. I don't care if you're at your funeral. I don't care if you're at your freaking wedding. I don't care if you're about to get your high school diploma. Go and watch the Blue Beetle movie now. Or so help me.
That's no PS on the episode.